sex. Literally what has kept the human race going for all this time. But sometimes people in history wanted to roll in the hay without a bundle of joy. Or a malady on their member. What you need is a wrap for your hoo-hoo-dilly, a banana tarp for your steam engine, a pickle mitten for your Bermuda cedar. You guessed it, this is the uncommon history of condoms. The oldest record of a condom comes from ancient Greece, where epic tales centered around King Minos of Crete. If being the father of the Minotaur wasn't indication enough that something might be amiss with the plumbing, Minos' semen was said to be full of serpents and scorpions, which caused the death of a few mistresses. So the royal couple used a goat's bladder when they coupled. However, whether this was worn by him or her is lost to time. In ancient Egypt, wrapping things in linen was for mummies and also for daddies. The male members wrapped their male members in a linen sheath, which was tied with a string. They were most likely used to prevent tropical diseases. The sheaths may have been color-coded to distinguish social status, because naked, how would anybody know? The Japanese used a sheath that was guaranteed to protect. And that's because it was made of tortoise shell. On the downside, the kabutagata was not great for sensitivity. On the upside, erectile dysfunction would have been a non-issue. No matter what the culture or where in the world, men experimented with whatever was available. The Jukas tribe in New Guinea used material from a local vegetable. As the Chinese became experts in silk, they made condoms from silk paper, lubricated with oil. As the Middle Ages gave way to the Renaissance, the great minds of the time were turning their attention to anatomy, science, and a new disease, syphilis, which was all the rage at the time. In a rare reversal of history, it was a disease brought from the New World rather than to it. And everyone blamed everyone else for it. Called the French disease in Italy and the Italian disease in France, the Dutch called it the Spanish disease, the Russians the Polish disease, and the Turks the Christian disease. But everyone did agree that it was awful and was clearly everywhere. Gabriele Falloppio, an Italian anatomist, invented a new linen sheath that was tied on by a distinctive pink ribbon. He conducted an experiment with 1,100 brave men who would go out and have sex in the name of science. Not a single one caught syphilis. A resounding success. Condoms continued to be used mainly to prevent disease until the reign of King Charles II. The English king knew how to get busy, and busy he doth got, and soon found himself drowning in a sea of illegitimate children. The story goes he called up his favorite doctor, who invented a sheath for his royal member made of lamb intestine. The doctor's name? Colonel Condom. Thanks to this hero, condoms got their name, and the birth rate in England started to decline. We can assume it's not all due to the king himself. The invention was a hit. Nothing said sexy like wrapping your Peter Piper in the digestive tract of livestock. And when you needed a King Charles special, you went to the local butcher. Who better to understand the tensile strength of lamb and goat intestines? As the demand for condoms grew, you could buy one at a pub, barbershop, or open-air market. As an added bonus, just wash off the syphilis in some warm milk and use again. In the 19th century, the technology of the condom took a giant thrust forward. It wasn't just syphilis that came back from the New World. Rubber from Brazil was all the rage in Europe, but no one knew how to stop it from decaying. Enter Charles Goodyear, who patented a rubber strengthening process in 1844 known as vulcanization. Within a decade, Goodyear's invention was being used to make condoms, way before anyone made tires bearing his name. Men had to be custom fitted for their new rubber, and at 2 millimeters thick, about the same as a bike inner tube, they probably didn't provide much stimulation. But the stretchy material meant bye-bye bow. And they had great mileage. But don't worry, you didn't have to put all those miles on in one go. They were entirely reusable. Wash them up, grease them in Vaseline, and store them in their custom-made wooden box till next time. Irish playwright George Bernard Shaw called them the greatest invention of the 19th century. Also invented in the 19th century, light bulbs. During World War I, the Germans issued condoms to their troops, figuring the equipment would prevent their soldiers from battling syphilis and gonorrhea. The American and British troops who didn't get jackets for their javelins found themselves fighting a war on two fronts, a mistake they corrected in World War II. The 20th century said bye-bye to the rubber and hello, latex. The material that makes all modern condoms, latex can be made thin enough for sensitivity, yet still incredibly strong and stretchy. They lower the rates of unwanted pregnancy and STDs, making the world a better place. That's why Bill Gates helped develop a super condom. In 2013, the Bill and Melinda Gates Foundation asked scientists to come up with a condom more people would use. While not yet on the market, it uses hydrophilic polymers to self-lubricate. Average condoms can go a maximum of 500 thrusts until the lubrication wears out. But for those who like their loving long, this new marvel of modern technology aims to double that to 1,000 thrusts. Enough for any modern King Charles II. Fortunately, we have the Bill and Melinda Gates Foundation to thank for it, because micro and soft are the last words you'd want to see on a box of condoms. Our modern choices of condom are reliable, convenient, cheap, and easy to access. And while it seems right to thank all the generations of our ancestors who were using them to get us to this point, it's only fair to point out we're all here because of the times they chose not to use them.